Hello and welcome back to the Celtic Way. I'm Tony Haggerty and I'm joined tonight by Ryan McGinley outside Celtic Park. He witnessed Celtic 4, Falkirk 0. This is a live full-time reaction, as the strapline says, on a joyous throwback night of Martin O'Neill belief. Ryan, 2 goals from Johnny Kenny, 1 from Benjamin Nygren, 1 from Sebastian Tenekte. Celtic easily won that game 4-0 against Falkirk. What's your first impressions of that?
Easily Celtic's best game of the season. I don't think there's much competition, to be honest with you, but I was actually smiling watching Celtic for a change. I was entertained watching Celtic for a change this evening. Back to basics. Everybody fighting for the one cause tonight, which was to get Celtic the 3 points. Couple of really, really great moments early doors. One in particular being Austin Trusty with a tackle that just got people on their feet. People were delighted to see that from the defender. A couple of great moments, 2 early goals, or 2 early-ish goals from Johnny Kenny, 2 well-taken goals, and then the further 2 to put the icing on the cake. 2 goals in each half. Nice, wee, symmetrical game this evening. And yeah, exactly what the doctor ordered. Cool. And a great start to Martin O'Neill's tenure.
We'll talk about it in greater detail in a second. First and foremost, I have to shout out our sponsors, who are It's Simply Furniture. They're located in Hillington, Glasgow, and It's Simply Furniture are an independent brand dedicated to bringing luxury and contemporary styles into homes across the UK. With over a decade of experience in furniture retail, they meticulously source only the finest pieces curated for quality, comfort, and timeless designs. From elegant sofas to statement dining sets, their hand-picked collection offers exceptional value without compromising in style, and their dedicated team ensure that your furniture is delivered with care right to your doorstep. And if you want to see the beauty up close, you can visit their stunning showroom and mention the Celtic Way for a special in-store discount, and all the links to their socials will be on the description of this podcast. Ryan, the perfect tonic, I think. Martin O'Neill, Sean Maloney weave their magic. That was a very enjoyable 90 minutes. Johnny Kenny, everybody said his movement was great, and he was getting into positions, but he wasn't scoring. I tweeted out, Ryan, something that older viewers will remember, the Jonathan Watson pastiche of Dennis Law, when he said goals were the currency in Lawland, and I said the same rules applied to Johnny Kenny, and they were 2 great striker goals tonight. I wanted to start with him tonight, because I thought, as strikers' goals go, they were top of the bill, and hopefully that gives his confidence a massive shot of the arm.
Yeah, he was in the right place at the right time for the 2 chances, and I'm delighted because they're 2 different goals. The first one is a rebound from Benjamin Nygren's shot, who, by the way, I thought Benjamin Nygren was one of the best players on the park tonight. I know we'll probably talk about him in more detail, but I thought he was so effective throughout the game, and he never hides, but he was positive tonight in everything that he was doing. Yeah, on Johnny Kenny, the first goal was a rebound, but he's in the right place at the right time. It's a really good finish as well on the turn to put it in the back of Scott Bain's net. And then the second goal, brilliant sort of. It was almost like 2 seals passing a ball to each other, Benjamin Nygren to Johnny Kenny. But a real instinctive finish from the Irish striker was really good to see that. It's not an easy header. It's a close range, but he puts it right into Scott Bain's far corner, and that's really good to see. That'll do him the world of good. And my goodness, being at Celtic Park, being in attendance, he enjoyed that. He enjoyed both goals, and they are the best medicine. Some say that laughter's the best medicine for goal scorers, and for strikers, goals are the best medicine. And he certainly got his healthy dose tonight.
Brilliant centre forward goals, Ryan. That's what I can't emphasise enough. And you were talking about Benjamin Nygren. He was at the heart of everything. He likes to miss a sitter every now and again, doesn't he? But he linked up really well with Johnny Kenny tonight, and he got his reward by being in the right place at the right time as well, following up the shot, and that's all you can ask. But good to see him just kind of play off that front two, and it worked really effectively, Ryan. Lots of chances created tonight, lots of forward play, despite not having a massive possession. I think it was something like 60%. But I was happy with that, Ryan. I was happy with the way they went about their business. We saw the Martin O'Neill kind of leap and spring. He kind of got about that much off the deck this time. But yes, 73.
He's rusty.
I'll cut him some slack on that. He hasn't did that for 6 years. But yeah, absolutely. Just really happy, Ryan, with the way they played. And I think everyone goes into Sunday now with a more positive frame of mind. And I want to just single out someone else. Marcello Sarachi, take a Bowser. Absolutely outstanding performance from the Uruguayan, Ryan.
First name in the team sheet for me on Sunday, Tony. I've got to say he's the first name. Now, Kieran Tierney wasn't on the bench tonight. That would maybe suggest that there's a doubt of his availability for Sunday. But even if he was fit and available, I want Marcelo Sarachi to be on that team sheet because, my goodness, he played for the cause tonight. Him and Tenecti, they looked so dangerous down that left-hand side. But Sarachi's got so much pace and so much nippiness about him. And aggression as well. That was the one thing that I really liked about tonight's performance. There was aggression. There was been sorely missing this season. A little bit of bite.
Yeah.
You can tell that Martin O'Neill and Mark Fotheringham and Sean Maloney have been telling them, get a bit of bite into your game. Impose yourself. It's a home game. You know, show that you're the dominant side. And they showed that. But Marcelo Sarachi, I thought he was absolutely tremendous. I really did. Between him and Benjamin Nigren for my player of the match, I thought the Uruguayan was absolutely tremendous.
Do you know what I liked? He was still thundering into tackles late in the game.
92nd minute. 92nd minute, he was making
thundering
a run.
in, and I love that attitude, that up and at. I mean, obviously, you know, the Uruguayans know all about the dark arts. He wasn't performing any dark arts, but he was just thundering in and getting wired in and stuck in. And I love that, Ryan. And also, I thought Austin Trusty coming back in, very solid and reassuring at the back of the pack, Ryan. I have to say, just before I come back to you, over 700 people joining us, Ryan, live on the stream. Guys, if you give us a like, it helps, well as...
absolutely.
It helps us reach as big an audience as possible. So thank you for joining us, 737 people. But if you like us as well, then that helps us grow the channel and grow the audience as well. So appreciate that. When you go, Ryan?
I'd like to echo those sentiments as well, Tony. The viewing figures have been absolutely incredible since Monday night, in particular, since the Rodgers resignation and every emotion, the many faces of Tony Haggerty came into play. The views have been absolutely tremendous, and it shows that people are invested in what we do, which is great to see. If you do like what we do, please subscribe. It's completely free of charge. And like this video because it goes out to more Celtic fans that are looking for their fix of Celtic, and positive Celtic fix as well, given the way that Celtic performed tonight. So if you can drop a like and hit subscribe if you haven't done so already, we would really appreciate it from everybody.
Indeed. And just lots to enthuse about, Ryan, and be positive about heading into what is a massive game on Sunday. There's no guarantee that kind of performance will be replicated. You know, we also couch it with the fact that Falkirk had won back-to-back games but didn't show much resistance. But I think everybody's got to spring in a step, haven't they? And it was just amazing to hear the Martin O'Neill song ringing round the stadium again. Fantastic stuff, Ryan.
Yeah, the one problem with tonight, and I figured this out very, very quickly, is that the Sack the Board chant and the Martin O'Neill chant have the same ring. So you had half of the stadium singing Sack the Board, another half singing Martin O'Neill. It was the same tune. At least they weren't singing different tunes, but that could be a problem down the line if both ends go on longer. But yeah, it's a decent problem to have. I would guess the fact that that was one thing that I noticed as well tonight. The crowd were invested in the game. They wanted a pick-me-up after a difficult couple of days. And the Celtic players were there for them tonight. They stood up and they were counted for tonight. They could have very easily been in a huff because the manager had left. They could have been in dire straits. They could have really struggled to break down Falkirk. But they didn't. They came out and really played a positive brand of football, an exciting brand of football. And it was great to see. Now, it wasn't perfect. I think they could have won the game by more goals, which is quite incredible to say. But it's been a pretty good night at the office when you take the other scores into account as well. You know, Hibs getting beat, St Mirren and Hearts drawn. There was a spell in the game, or when I was checking the scores during the game, that it looked as if St Mirren were going to win that game. tonight, but dropped points for Hearts so soon after beating Celtic. Celtic have clawed back 2 of those 3 points that they dropped at Tynecastle on Sunday, which is very good news. And that was also important. I want to make this point. Hearts play at the weekend as well. They play Dundee at the weekend.
Yeah.
So the worst it's going to get is 9 points clear at the top of this table with a game in hand. But the fact that they've dropped points and Celtic will hold a game in hand over Hearts going into the winter months is a positive. It's certainly a lot more positive than it was shortly after the full-time whistle on Sunday afternoon. It
is indeed, and the viewing figures keep going up, Ryan. Over 837 people join us. Thank you, guys. Really hope you're enjoying it. We enjoy your company as well. Try and get through some comments in a second. 2 other things I wanted to point out, Ryan. Kasper Schmeichel made a wonderful save.
Absolutely.
A brilliant save low down to his right, wasn't it? Yeah, it was his right. And so I thought it was an outstanding save. So well done to Kasper for that. That's what he's there for, to do that. But I think it came through a ruck of players, and he might have seen it late. And also, Luke McCowan's pass to Tinecti was, I'll give him this one. It was Hatate-esque, wasn't it? That kind of swerving ball. And Tinecti took it well because, first of all, he had to ride the challenge because the guy tried to bring him down, because he made a mess of, he misjudged it. And the finish, he just made it. It was a 5-a-side goal for me, Ryan, the finish. No messing. And also, I thought Johnny Kenny should have had a hat-trick right after the second half. He goes for power and he blasts it, and if he'd have placed it, he'd probably have scored. But that's a nitpick. But Kasper Schmeichel's save and Luke McCowan's pass, thought Luke McCowan played well when he came on. And, so lots of stuff to, as I say, enthuse about, Ryan, and just the perfect pick-me-up after a difficult week for Celtic. And good news for Martin O'Neill, Sean Maloney and Mark Fotheringham getting their interim reign off to the flying start, basically, yeah.
It was needed. It was completely needed. Yeah. It was a pick-me-up that was absolutely necessary tonight because there was already a negative feeling. You had the protests outside the ground. You had everything going on in the background with all the managerial stuff. It was great for 90 minutes to just enjoy some football and enjoy some on-the-field play, which was absolutely brilliant to see. And it just so happens that they played really well on the night. It was enjoyable. Going through the team, I was delighted, as you quite rightly said. Tinecti was very dangerous in the first half. The ball was getting played to him a lot. Not everything was coming off for him, but he deserved his goal in the second half. A little bit of luck to get it through. Great pass from Luke McCowan. But as soon as it went through to him, I don't know about you, Tony, I knew that he was scoring that goal. Yeah. He looked confident. It was almost... Yeah. Don't want to make the comparison too early, but the way that he ran through on goal and slotted it past Scott Bain, it was very much in the same lightness as a certain Jota. It was a Jota-esque sort of finish. It was composed. It was confident, and even with the knee slide as well. It was a real great moment. But what I like about Tinecti is that he celebrates other goals as well, just as much as his own. There was a moment where Johnny Kenny scored the first goal in the game, and you've got Tinecti going over to the Green Brigade and the Ultras, punching the badge and giving it a kiss. I'd love to see that from him. It shows that he's bought in already, regardless of who the manager is. He's already bought into what's required at Celtic. I think there's one hell of a player in there for Celtic, and it's just all about nurturing them. And in a good side and a better Celtic side, he'll be a star performer in the years to come.
Regular contributor Hazel Finn. I agree with that completely, Hazel. Really unlucky not to get on the end of a Sriracha cross because he was inches away from it, and I think he was kicking himself because I don't think he expected Sriracha's ball to be bang on the money. But I thought Osmond looked decent tonight, and he did a lot of running, and I would like to see more of him if he's to come on to replace Johnny Kenny. Because he looks as if he's got something, and everybody who spoke about Osmond before he came to the club said he was an excellent footballer and a decent striker. So maybe that will also give him a wee fill up and a boost, Ryan, at confidence levels, and maybe get some game time in this interim period, and we'll see what happens moving forward. But yeah, I thought he looked quite lively and sharp, and that's all you want from your players when they come on, to have an impact on proceedings, regardless of what the score is.
Yeah, and he backed himself by not going out on loan. in the summer transfer window, and it's already paid off for him due to what he's maybe doing in training. Maybe he just needed an opportunity, a fresh face through the door to give him that opportunity, and he's backed himself. And you've got to remember that was his senior debut in football, full stop.
Yeah.
He's not made a competitive appearance or any appearance in senior football prior to that. So a big moment for him. Thought he acquitted himself pretty well in the game. Was unlucky not to get on the end of that Sriracha cross, but he looks like a big lump as well, which is good. He looks like he's got something about him, and hopefully we do see more. Hopefully it's the first of many appearances in Celtic for Callum Osman. But he's done the hard thing. He's made that breakthrough into the first team. It's probably what he's been dreaming of over the past 3-4 months. Now he's done that. Now it's all about the next one. And can he get his first goal? And when can he get his first goal for Celtic?
If he wants to start getting his first goal for Celtic, Ryan, he can do it on Sunday. If he wants to make an impact in that sense, that would be a good time to start. And even Maida coming on as well, which is excellent. Good to see that. Balikwisha getting another outing as well, building up his confidence levels in his match time. So just Tony, when you go, sorry.
Who was it that played the ball to Balikwisha? There was a beautiful ball into the down to the right hand side from Balikwisha, into the path of Balikwisha rather. There was somebody that played a ball, and it was absolutely brilliant to see in one of those sort of daisy cutter passes. I'm not sure who played. I don't know if it was Ralston or it was somebody else, but really good to see that different sort of pass in the game, and it really cut open Falkirk. I'm putting you on the spot.
I mean, I think it was Ralston. Yeah, I was trying to remember because there was so much that I enjoyed about tonight, the goals especially, and just the general attacking play, Ryan. I think they looked hungry, and you could tell that there would been a different voice talking to them before they as they were going about their business. So maybe that's all what they needed. They were all fighting for each other, and so as I say, it's giving you more optimism for Sunday. What happens on Sunday, it's a what will be. But listen, if they play like that, they'll be there or thereabouts. They'll be difficult to beat, and also they're carrying a wee kind of a goal edge about them. I won't say a clinical edge at the minute, but they did well tonight in terms of their chance conversion, and just delighted for the likes of Kenny, delighted for Tinekte, and Nigrin. He's just one of those players that infuriates you, doesn't he? Because he does a lot of good things, but there are other times when you think to yourself, why did you not score that? Or your touch was out here and there. But listen, again, that's just a wee kind of nitpick, really, isn't it?
It is, but we're allowed to nitpick. We've been nitpicking all season, and we're not going to stop anytime soon. It's our job to nitpick, Tony. Come on. And I want to pick up on a point that you made earlier about the possession stats and the fact that it was lower tonight. You would much rather that they had less possession but were more meaningful on the ball rather than more possession and doing nothing with it.
Yeah, I only mentioned it because I think John had written it in his instant analysis. So
it's all about being purposeful with the ball.
That's how it came to mind. Yeah, exactly. But you could have 80 or 90% possession, like some of Brendan Rodgers' teams did in the past, and do nothing with it. So yeah, possession is great, but if you're not doing anything with the ball, then it doesn't really matter, doesn't it? But it was just an interesting start for me. But I think it showed you that even if you do dominate and you have upwards of 80 towards 90%, it doesn't mean that you're converting chances and stuff like that. So I just found it, as I say, a bit interesting for myself. But my thoughts, Ryan. I've often said this about expected goals and stuff like that. My currency to go all past decent Dennis Law is actual goals. I live in that same land, So that's the way I kind of view football. When somebody tells me about possession stats and all that, I find them interesting to a point. But when I watch a Celtic team play like that tonight, I'm not fussed about possession. I know they've been very creative and they've scored 4 goals. Could have had more. That's what gets the juices flowing, Ryan. That's what the game's all about for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I think there's going to be a nice balance in the backroom staff when it comes to the manager, the interim manager being Martin O'Neill, who is a figurehead for it all, I would say. I don't think that's disrespectful to call him a figurehead to this operation, when you've also got Sean Maloney that's doing a lot of the operational things in the background as well, and Mark Fotheringham. So you're going to have a really nice balance between the two. You're going to have the analytical side from Sean Maloney because he'll embrace that, but you'll also have the leader, the focal point, who is Martin O'Neill, and it worked tonight. I'm sure the analysts will be looking at all the different stats that came out of tonight, but Martin O'Neill will only care about the scoreline in the top left hand corner, and that's a really good balance to have. I'm delighted with the way that it went tonight, and I'm same again on Sunday if possible.
Yeah, I think every Celtic supporter is now going into that match with lots more hope and optimism, and not possibly the trepidation that they might have felt had the previous manager still been here, because we can all admit that the stuff or the flair that Celtic had produced this season was nothing like that. So I think there was a sea change tonight in terms of the style and the way they played and the way certain players were deployed, and I think that was a tonic for everybody as well. Because I think it was becoming a bit stale under Brendan, wasn't it? A big bit stale, and one felt that had perished the thought, had they dropped in again, or these two games, Falkirk and Rangers, were going to be massive for Brendan Rodgers in terms of his tenure and future, and maybe kick the can down the road. But it's happened before. It's happened before these two games take place that Brendan Rodgers has resigned. So, just that for this interim period, if we can play like that in every game, Ryan, then I think we'll win more than we lose. I have to say that.
Yeah, agreed. It's a great starting point for the new interim coaching staff, which was only announced this afternoon, the actual makeup of the team. It shows how much work is getting done in the background in order to assemble this team, while the club look for a permanent solution in the managerial role and his backroom staff as well. I'm just hoping that that's sorted sooner rather than later. As much as I'm delighted tonight that Celtic got the win, I'm hoping that they're Dermot Desmond was spotted in attendance tonight. That would point to the fact that he's going to try and sort some stuff out over the next few days. That his business head is on. Maybe he was just there to enjoy the game, but I would like to think that he was doing more than just that. He was getting his ducks in a row and trying to get Celtic's next manager through the door as well. It's important that Celtic get that sorted sooner rather than later.
Dermot Desmond in attendance would say to me, Ryan, there's trouble at middle, as they say. So that's why he turned up, to see what all the fuss was about. And and you were there, Ryan, before the game. We must touch on that. There was protests outside the main stand. How did that manifest itself, young man?
If I'm being perfectly honest, not great.
Okay.
I thought that it was quite... I don't know if unorganised is the word, but it was... Yes, there was a lot of chanting, but there was just... It just felt very uncoordinated, a lot of it. And, you want to give a balanced view of what transpired. Yes, there was a lot of shouting. There was pyro as well. There was a couple of pushing of the fences. But all in all, again, there just seems to be a notion amongst the Celtic support. There's so many different groups in the Celtic support. It just doesn't seem like it's very unified at the moment when it comes to protests. Because you saw the protests with the balls on the pitch at Dundee, and that was very down the middle, maybe even more negative than positive in terms of the impact and of the game and the way that supporters felt on that. I just felt again tonight, yes, it was well attended. It was well attended outside the main stand, so the message was clearly, it clearly came across. But I don't know. I just don't feel that it had the desired effect. There was chants, there was shouts, there was different chants, and then everybody just dispersed and went to the game. I just felt like a bit of a damp squib, if I'm being perfectly honest.
I have to say, I think that most of the excitement was generated by Martin O'Neill's return.
And then what happened on the pitch?
Yeah, and I think that was the only story and only show in town. And as I've said before on this podcast, I would never dream of telling any Celtic supporters how to support their football team. And if they want to protest, then that's clearly up to the individual. So that's interesting, your feedback on that and your reportage on that. And also there was a banner display, wasn't there, Ryan, with Dermot Desmond's face now on the banner display. So they have trained their guns on Dermot Desmond as well, whereas before it was Peter Lowell, Michael Nicholson and Chris Mackay, wasn't it?
Yes, not before time, may I add, if we're talking about protests. I feel like it's a section or a sector of the hierarchy that's not been touched as of yet, and I don't really understand why. But due to the statement that was brought out on Monday evening, shortly after Brendan Rodgers' resignation from the major shareholder, the spotlight that was then thrust on Dermot Desmond, and now it would seem as if it's more targeted towards him because they are now aware that he calls all the relative shots when it comes to Celtic. You know, he can publish that statement as quickly as that and just put it on the website without any, without seemingly any buffer zone or anything like that. So, yeah, at least it's consistent. I would say the protest now, the fact that it's getting targeted at the board and all members of the board because Dermot Desmond is still part of the board.
Picture was there as well, wasn't it? Yeah, is that right?
I don't have from where I'm situated in the stadium, I don't have the greatest view of any banners that go up. But what I did see was like a wanted sign of the Bollards, wanted for gross management, I think it was, or gross negligence.
Mismanagement, yeah.
Gross mismanagement. I knew I was close, but they were in the Bollards outside. And then once the protest finished, there was then more banners then stuck to the sort of barriers that were in place outside Celtic Park. So it's an interesting time. I'm sure there'll be more protests as the weeks and months go on. But the main show and the galvanising figure was probably Martin O'Neill, and I would agree with that completely.
Of course.
I think it would have been, and maybe it's perhaps a little bit unfair to say to Sean Maloney, if it was Sean Maloney that was put in that position as the manager, maybe the protest would have been a little bit louder, but Martin O'Neill's a unifying figure. He ticks a lot of boxes when it comes to different generations of Celtic fans, and even if you weren't there the first time, you know all about what Martin O'Neill brought to Celtic and what he did to Celtic. You understand that what he says and what he does has a little bit more weight around these places, or holds a little bit more weight around this place. So, yeah, I think that had a big part to play in maybe the slight damp squibness, if you can say that, of the protest tonight.
Fair enough. You were there, so you take it as read that you're telling.
It was loud. It was loud when the chants, but when you start to chant the same thing 3-4 times, it just I feel that people get a little bit disinterested after a while. And the pyro was there, a couple of bits of pushing at the front of the queue, the front of the pile, but apart from that, it's just a meet up of the fans, really. That's just my take on it.
I agree with this from Davy Little that the Martin O'Neill will galvanise Celtic till a new manager comes in. I think that started already. I think it started yesterday. I think there was Martin O'Neill said there was a nervous excitement, but I think there was an excitement from the Celtic supporters about his starting 11. It was totally 4 changes he made, wasn't it? And it was refreshing to see that. And then it was refreshing to see the way that they played. That's the way you want a Celtic team to perform. And as you said, Ryan, it took a wee while to click, before Johnny Kenny scored the first of his 2 goals. But it's, it's a step in the right direction. Can take a further step in the right direction by winning at Hampden on Sunday. That won't be easy, but you are in the safest hands steering the tiller as possible. And I would like to emphasise that Martin O'Neill's not alone. Sean Maloney and Fotheringham beside him and other coaches as well. So they'll all have had a hand in tonight's victory, Ryan. So it's a big up to them all, the 7 that are on the coaching staff just now, because I think they tantamount to one training session with the team, didn't they? But you still saw a clear and concise and a fluid and cohesive style and pattern of play where they get the ball forward quickly, and they were trying to utilise the centre forward and Johnny Kenny and Nygren floating around behind him and Tinecti and trying to link up. So I was happy with that, Ryan, I have to say. Without going overboard about it, I was just happy that I saw some real behaviours and patterns that pleased me greatly.
You've got to really underline the point of where we were at Celtic on Sunday to where we are just now, just 3 days on.
Sure.
And what's happened in between. Mm-hmm. I think we've got a right to be, I wouldn't say excited's the word, but pleased with what occurred tonight. It was much needed, as I've said numerous times on this show. Martin O'Neill will be that galvanising figure until the manager comes in. Completely agree with that statement. And listen, he's a Celtic legend regardless of what happens in this tenure. So why not go and enjoy it? I thought yesterday was the start of it. I would agree with you also in that. I thought he brought a bit of humility to the role and honesty to the press conference, which was great to see. Sean Maloney was well spoken as well, and it just felt all right in that press conference. I thought I know people have different views on how the comments that maybe Martin O'Neill made, and joking about, but it's been a pretty dark 48 to 72 hours at Celtic. So for Martin O'Neill to come in, a club legend who took Celtic to heights that they've not reached since his departure, for him to come back and inject that bit of positivity, both off the park and on the park, was absolutely great to see tonight. And for however long it continues, I just hope that he can keep on going in this positive frame of mind and this positivity on the park as well.
I want you to be brutally honest with me. Did you sing the Martin O'Neill song tonight, Ryan?
Nope, I was a complete professional. I was doing my player ratings. Didn't sing a thing tonight.
Not even in your head. Not even in your head.
I cannot confirm nor deny. It was just a better atmosphere tonight.
Yeah, all right.
I think that everything was going against it, to be honest, at one point.
Yeah.
That you're coming up against a form team in Falkirk who want to play with the ball at their feet. You got a new manager coming in, the old manager's left, you've got a new backroom staff. How are the players going to respond? How are the fans going to respond? Everybody was on point tonight. Everybody felt united. And you talk about the fact that Celtic only had one training session. They showed more unity and fluidity than at any point prior in the season in terms of the performances. It's
Ryan, that other Celtic collective that I talk about is a powerful thing. See, when the management team and the players and the supporters are all in unison and it comes together like that, the way it did tonight under Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney and Mark Fotheringham, then good things can happen. From small acorns, hopefully that's the green and white shoots of recovery for as long as they're here. Hopefully they can win every match for as long as they're here. And you're right, Dermot Desmond's in town to sort of start the process of due diligence and sifting through managerial candidates, or you would like to think so. And we wait to see how that episode unfolds. But I think tonight, Martin O'Neill was true to his word. The management team and the players and the fans gave every ounce of energy in unison to help the situation, and they got the result that they did.
Yeah, and long may that continue, as you said, for however long. Martin O'Neill, Mark Fotheringham, Sean Maloney, the rest of the backroom staff, for however long that new collective is here, then hopefully they keep on bringing the results, because it's a great start tonight. It's the first box has been ticked tonight. The first steps on the road to Celtic's recovery has been ticked tonight. It was a much needed tick, but at the same time, it was good to watch as well, and it was enjoyable. Now all focus is on Sunday. You're hoping that everybody came through the game as well as can be, and that they're all ready for Sunday. It's a different animal in Rangers. Danny Rose, Rangers got a good result tonight against Hibs. They'll be feeling up for it. Celtic will be feeling up for it after a really troublesome 48 hours. yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes on Sunday, but feeling a little bit more optimistic than what I was on Sunday afternoon coming into these two games.
Yep. Guys, if you like what we do, hit the like button and we'll get this out to as wide an audience as possible. Over 900 people, Ryan, 950 at one point, joining us on a live stream. Absolutely excellent numbers, guys. We know there's an insatiable appetite. We know you've got various viewing choices and pleasures, but thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here. Ryan, I'm going to let you go and let you get home, sir. It's been a long night, but an enjoyable night. 2 goals from Johnny Kenny, 1 from Benjamin Nigran, and Sebastian Chinecti's first goal at Celtic Park. Celtic 4, Falkirk 0. Ryan, your final thoughts?
Exactly what the doctor ordered tonight. And now we push on to Sunday, and hopefully Celtic can book their place in the final of the League Cup final of the League Cup.
Indeed, I echo that sentiment as well. Ryan, take care, safe home, guys. Thank you for joining us. We're a bit happier about ourselves tonight, aren't we? We can all sleep well. Roll on Sunday, Ryan. I think that's the message now.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you to each and every one of you for joining us. And if you do like what we do, please press that subscribe button and hit the like button so it goes to more people. But we thank each and every one of you for joining us tonight.
Do what the man said. Take care. There'll be I don't know what duo's on tomorrow morning. It'll be 10 o'clock, but I know it won't be me because I'm on my day off. I'll probably see you all again on Friday. Take care, guys.
Thanks, guys.